Are you like me and believe that you could never draw something beautiful? This week's Peaceful Pattern shows exactly how Zentangle patterns help people learn to be creative. Don't worry if you don't know where to start. Just join me in this video that could just be the beginning of your new creative journey and the funnest way to release stress. But first, let's start at the beginning.
Hi everyone, it's K-Red, and welcome to my 2025 Peaceful Patterns Weekly Challenge. By creating a new tile each week, together we can learn something new, but most important, find some peace and calm in the chaos of this world.
So the first thing we are going to do is we are going to draw a simple wiggled line. We want some hills and valleys. That's going to be important, and that's part of the instruction of the first step. We want to go up and down, doesn't matter how long, doesn't matter how short, and that is it for step one. Anybody and everybody can do this. So let me go ahead and recreate that so I can show you step two. And I'm going to go ahead and switch to a red pen, and that way you can see the difference between step one to step two. This is pretty common when you look online. So if you're looking for other patterns to do, you're welcome to check them out on my channel. Welcome to check out the other peaceful patterns. I would really appreciate it if you would subscribe and give me a thumbs up. But all we have to do for this pattern now is fill in a shape underneath the hills and on top of the valleys. We're going to follow roughly the shape on the bottom. And this is best done if you give yourself a little bit of an indent in the middle. Now on this one right here that I'm drawing, it's not a great indent, but it's close enough. A lot of what we're going to be doing is really personal preference. Notice on this one, I gave myself a little bit better of a dip in the middle, but I always do like them when they come out to a point as well. The important thing in learning to draw is to just start. Put some ink down on some paper. Don't be afraid of a pen. It's not your enemy. It's just some paper. I really encourage you to find some fun in this. There is a lot. So let's keep going and see where we're going to go with the next one. Cindy has a lot in store for us. So first I'm going to go back to that black pen. I'm going to go back and redo some hills and valleys. Notice they're not the same as the one above it, and they don't have to be. Your tangle does not have to be perfection. They don't all have to be the same length. In fact, I think it looks great when they're not, when you have some variety in it, when you give yourself some character to it. All right, so now that I have what was done above, steps 1 and 2 done, we're going to go ahead and move back to that red pen and add in some cute little accents. The first accents that I'm going to draw are just small circles filled in, little dots. If you use a thick pen, you can just touch the paper and it will make the dot for you. If you do a small pen or a thin tip, then you just color them in. It is just that simple. But that is all step 3 is. Now we're going to go ahead and move on to the second part of step 3. So we'll say 3A and now 3B. And we're drawing a bigger circle in that middle dip. So this is where if you'd made yourself a decent dip, it would fit right in. Then we're going to draw one circle that's a little smaller and one circle that's a little smaller. And it is just that simple. I left a small little circle, an odd shaped in the top right of each middle circle. It gives it a little bit of a light source. It lets us just have a little bit of a reflection. Once it's all done, it can make some great dimension. You don't have to. You can color it all in. If you don't want yours colored in, you can leave it open, or you could put a design in it. Draw some straight lines in it and just have patterns that way. The options are endless. That is what is great about tangling and zentangling, is I didn't have to think about putting these shapes together. I didn't have to come up with this design. But now that I have it, looking at it, I can make whatever changes I want to make to it. So the way I use these peaceful patterns for anybody who's new, and I'm glad that you're here. I hope you consider joining us. I use them as prompts in future drawings. So if in the future I am looking for a border, I can flip through these cards that I'm making. I make a new one each week. We do a new pattern each week. And that way I can have some ideas. I don't have to try to remember things off the top of my head. Oh my goodness, what am I going to draw next? There is so many options online. TanglePatterns.com is an amazing site. It's where I pull, so far, every pattern from. It gives us lots of ideas, but it can be really overwhelming. Anybody ever looking at a blank piece of paper and just been afraid to where to start? Well, that's where these patterns and these tiles help me. When I'm looking at my blank piece of paper, I just start flipping through them. You're going to see at the end what they all look like. I'm just going to flip through them. I'm saying, okay, I like that pattern. Okay, I like that pattern. I'm going to start with one, and it's just wherever my mind goes. This is how I relieve stress. I have a very stressful day job. I like to come home and have a few minutes of calm and collection where my hands are busy, my mind is focused on a simple, repeatable task. Nothing is hard on this, all easy patterns, but I can then process my day. I can then focus on something. This works great when I'm not feeling well. If I have some back issues or some pain, it does help me kind of divert my mind, focusing it on something other than whatever's going on in the day that can feel so overwhelming or that is overwhelming. This at least gives me an option of a way to break away from it. So as you can see, I have finished the first line, following it the exact same patterns. It's kind of interesting to see what it looks like when it's in all black and you have that uniformity between the steps that are up above. And we just keep going. We just keep processing through. I'll go ahead and fast forward a little bit to the ending, but you're going to see that there is nobody who can't do this. Anybody can make this design. You want to show somebody how much you really care about them? Let's make them a homemade card. You can just put this on the bottom, write happy birthday above it, put this on the border around it, and you've made a homemade card that costs next to nothing. Piece of paper that you can find and a pen that you can find. Nothing special is needed. And yet we're giving our time and ourself of somebody, and that's really what's important. Now on this bottom one here, I didn't give myself enough room on the card. So if you notice, I broke away from the steps, right? The next step should have been those small dots, the thin ones. But I didn't because I was concerned on how I was going to solve the problem of not enough room. So I went ahead and did where my mind went. I'm not going to have a rule that I have to follow. There's no discipline to this. This is where we try to let our mind be creative. So then I go ahead, I fix it to the best that I can, kind of squeeze them in down on the bottom. And it's okay if it goes off a page. It's okay if it doesn't completely fit in proportions. That is not what is important. What is important is I've put something on paper. I've had some fun. I now go back to do the step 2, and then we can go ahead and finish the step 3. See how on this one right here, I did a great job of giving myself that valley to fit the larger circle in. And then as it moves up the side, the circles can get smaller and go up. I think that probably is best practice on this pattern, but I don't think it is mandatory. It's just whatever works for you, whatever fits your project. So in Zentangling, they always put an emphasis on shading. Shading can be really intimidating to the beginner. So if not, or if you want to do more, the only shading I added was underneath the line, just to put just a little bit of a depth on it, just to add a little bit of dimension. And that is this week's gorgeous pattern. It is called Zazu, Z-A-Z-U. It is by Cindy Knapp. And just like always, we found it on tanglepatterns.com. And I think you guys will really enjoy it. So now we've punched a hole in our card. Because that's how I piece them all together. And let me go ahead and show you. Here's some of the others that we have done. You can see all the step outs and learn how to make them all on peacefulpatterns.com. I look forward to seeing you all next week when we do yet another pattern. We learn something new and we just continue to add to our calm and our comfort through drawing. Be safe, and we'll see you next week.